start the reading. Since we're in a new moon, retrograde period. What's going on? What's the energy for the collective during this new moon? Hello, hello. Thank you for joining the live. If you don't mind liking, sharing, and keeping the chat going, even if it's just something small as some hearts in the chat. That'll work too. Hearts in the chat. We'll keep it simple, right? So what's going on with the collective during this new moon time? Since we're in a new moon phase. And that'll be it. Quick midday read, if you feel so inclined to say. Holy Spirit, any messages for the collective during this new moon? Come out. Any messages for the collective during this new moon? Any other messages for the collective during this new moon? Any other messages for the collective? Any other messages for the collective? Just want to fall out there. Any other messages for the collective? Just want to fall out there. Any other messages? Blockages removed. Go from there. Truth speaker, speak your truth. Or you are a truth speaker. I wasted your time. So don't waste your time during this time. Renewed strength, power, and direction. Don't let anybody come in and waste your time. We're in the new moon, so everything that we do during the new moon is that renewal time. That time that we sow. And then the full moon, we should be reaping by then, right? So, selfish person, but you already have the renewed strength, power, and direction on today. Blockages are removed. Blockades removed. And that's by the divine. So after that, Earth Angel. Angel number 808. Angel number 808. Angels and ancestors helping you to realign, rebirth, have a new level of enlightenment or fulfillment. Human resources. So somebody behind the scenes might have done something strange, fumbling the truth around. But at the end of the day, overall energy, it's fine. It's a transmutation. Even today in my earlier meditation is even the things that bother us that maybe we might spend a cycle or two or more on, it might just be one of those things that is something that we use or that the divine has given us personally to help transmute energy. So everybody is different. Some people struggle with, maintaining their weight, things like that. And that was just a tool at some point to help you transmute negative energy that was coming your way. For me, I had to sit there with it and say, well, why do I struggle why is it so difficult for me? But to be honest, every time I work through those things, I transmute more energy than I ever thought I would. So kind of thinking about like, what have you struggled? But it's still going to be a lifelong journey. You're going to always have to overcome it. You're going to always have to work on it. It's not going anywhere. It's just how you feel about it and how you operate with it. So at the end, we'll go with proper techniques for a sterile environment. Now this is kind of medical, but I like to look at things in that way. So low microorganisms in your environment, i.e. your gifts, your body, your mind, your spirit, emotions, So your purpose and your power and your wisdom, you don't want unnecessary things in your environment right now. So when I see proper techniques, medical, there are a lot of different ways. You got sterile technique, you got just your regular hand washing, and there's a difference between what's left behind. So as you cleanse during this time, as you look at your environment, whether that just be your home, we're talking about our bodies and stuff and our spiritual path. So at the end of the day, you really need to make sure that you got a low amount of things coming into your field that can disrupt you, pretty much. You want to have sterile techniques, so cleansing during this time and being really clear about what you want within the next 2 weeks to transpire. Because as you know, microorganisms, they're hard to get rid of. That's why when we do sterile technique, there's a whole process. You lay everything out. Hello. You lay everything out. It's got to be in perfect order. When you do sterile technique, you got to have a face shield on. Anybody in the vicinity has to have a face shield on. When I see shield, you need to shield yourself, right? You want to shield yourself from anything coming in that shouldn't be coming in during this time. When the new moon comes around, they always say 3 days before and 3 days after, that energy is very potent, but especially on the moon day, you want to be careful. And when I wrote this card up, it's been a couple of years ago, the PPE. But PPE in the spirit, we know what PPE is. It's gloves and shields and gowns and face masks and goggles and all of these different things. But your spiritual face shield, your spiritual gown, your goggles, shoes, what do you need? What do you need for proper spiritual hygiene during this time? What is it that you need during this time, and especially today? What do you need during this time? You know better about what you need than anybody else could ever. Now, they may be able to clue in this, that, and the third, but you know where you're probably weak at. You know what you have going on. So think about having that cleansing and just keeping up with that, especially on today. Let's see. Somebody maybe has some support needs that were ignored. Somebody needed some assistance. But during this time, really support yourself. If anyone is going through something and they don't have a lot of support, then give support to yourself. Hi, I'm glad everybody's coming in. I really appreciate it. Just, tap the screen, keep the chat rolling. So if you have any support needs during this time, you don't have to necessarily tell everybody, but divine is always going to be your biggest supporter. Nature is going to always be your biggest supporter, because it doesn't waver the way that people do. People waver back and forth, and they have their own lives and problems, and that's why we have to know how to navigate. Not everybody will be able to handle everything, and that's the truth. I will never say that you can't have it all. You can have it all. The difference is, are you happy with having it all? Can you actually, are you actualized? Are you working? Are you able to work towards that? Yeah, I could have it all right now. I could be married. I could have a family. I could have it all. But at what cost? Would I truly be happy if I had it all? All of that. Or would I be more happy being in a more purposeful area in life? Everybody could have it all, but how you gonna be able to deal with it, and can you deal with it long term? If you do have support needs, or you do feel like you can't handle everything, start making a plan for what you might want your life to look like by the end, now and the end of the year. Like, what do I want my life to be? I want to wake up and I want to be happy. I want to be at peace. Maybe I want to be pain-free, or I want to lower my pain level, or I want to be healthier, or I just want to wake up and say, take a breath, and I'm not waking up feeling like I'm being clobbered. by life. Because to have it all, if you're not the type of person that can handle it, it's like being clobbered every day. And everybody know what clobbered means. To get up and be in such a controlled way where you can't have a day to sleep in sometimes. You can't have a day where you can just randomly just run around. It can be hard. So think about what you truly want. Sometimes to have what you want in life, you got to let go of something. If you got any support need issues, which is not a bad thing at all. I don't want to make it a bad thing. But to know is to know what you can handle. If you can't handle, people say, I want a mansion. Can you handle cleaning a mansion? Or making sure other people clean for you? Can you handle that day in and day out? Can you handle the light bill, the water bill, the nature, the grass services, trash services, pest control? And that's just the basics of it. Can you handle fixing the foundation, keeping the foundation of a mansion? Not a regular house, not a, something regular like and even a smaller style like a cottage. Say a cottage house that's a 2-bedroom, 900 square feet. Some people can't even handle that. That's too much for some. 2 bedrooms, even just 1,200 square feet. It's a lot to keep up with. Add all the life stuff to it. If you got any support needs, figure out what you can handle for sure, and only add in what you still feel comfortable with. And if anybody's saying, oh, you're not doing this or doing that, you might need to take them off of your people, because they probably don't belong. So I probably can't put this up, but what I will say is, for ladies and anyone that has had any workings on their reproductive system, go check that out. Just go check it out. Go make sure that everything is okay. Ground yourself. Make sure that you're able to maintain, because anytime you're dealing with this region, that kind of can make you feel really unsteady. So if you're dealing with any issue, especially ladies in that area, maybe time to make sure you have a checkup or do something to make sure that is just to make sure that everything is okay, is what I'm trying to say mainly. Somebody might have some family members, they could be dealing with something like that. I don't know. Or it could be something hereditary in this area, especially for the ladies. I don't know. Just, use your discernment. Something could be going on. So, role model and skills. That kind of goes along with support. If there are any people during this time that you've been looking at and saying maybe they have the skills, maybe they can actually be a help of service, you might want to reach out to them. You don't have to tell them everything that's going on in your life, but if you don't have the right support, maybe put a little drop in the bucket during this time to reach out to a couple of people and that you feel comfortable. That's like, hey, new people, let it be new. It can be new people. You let go of something and bring something else in and start to build something. Start to build a little bit of support. It doesn't have to be a lot. Relationships are not as hard as we make them. We make them harder. If you know that you want a friendship, or you want some kind of, something like that, you can plan keeping the friendship afloat. You don't have to just be like, oh, just fly by the seat of your pants if that's too much for you. Some people, that is too much. Some people, they need to say, I want us to go and do something together once a month and interact with each other, and after that we'll meet up every month. That's something too. That is a thing, and that is okay. You don't have to constantly be on the phone. Emergencies, we get it, but sometimes there are some people that really cannot withstand constant. You have to figure out what you need. Pretty much what you need, put a stamp on it. and let people know if you have to. Write it down, write it in a letter, send people a letter if it makes it easier for you. I mean, they probably say, why are you sending me but it doesn't matter. The point is, figure out what you need. If you need to pull something off, toss it, go ahead and do that. I was getting a phone call. Toss it, let it go. You don't have to keep on holding on to it. Somebody has a reader out there, a spiritualist, somebody is very knowledgeable during this time. Lean into it. You know, you have whatever intuition, whatever it is that you're ready to step into, you'll have to start making those steps. But use your discernment. Use your level of faith. Some people say just use your discernment, but you might discern 100 different things. I'll say that you could discern and pick up on thousands of things. I've picked up on so many different things over the years, and it didn't matter if my faith and my belief and the foundation of who I am and what I believe to be or could be, it didn't matter worth a hill of beans if I didn't have enough faith and foundation and stand on it to get it to go in that direction. So lean into the things that you need to lean into. Lean into the things that you've been saying, I feel like I need to do this for myself. If you feel like you need to do something for yourself, do it. Is all I'm going to say. Do it. Angel number 611. Recovery in all forms. Steadfastness, harmony, intuition, money and career. Angels support you and are on Angels support you and you are on the right track for success. New opportunities on the horizon. And this is like a morning time, so it's the early part of it's the sunrise, so it's coming in pretty swiftly. But you're on the right path. Somebody is on the right path. The collective that's gonna see this message is on the right path. Somebody is a mystical being during this time. Maybe you're just gonna kind of start to figure it out and put some puzzle pieces together. Also, again, this was the bottom of the deck. Blockages and blockades removed. But also this came out, block spiritual attacks. And spiritual attacks are just as simple as, like everybody's saying, which is really true, it's just as simple as trying to bring you down when you want to do something. Telling you can't do it. If anybody's seen the movie Precious, the way her mother talked to her, it doesn't have to be that blatant. It could simply be, ooh, you need to lose some weight. That wouldn't have been quite as harsh as the way Precious' mother in the movie was depicted. But the point of the matter is, if you constantly do something like that and that person is very uncomfortable, it's tearing you down. And that is a spiritual attack, because it breaks the confidence, it breaks the will. That's what it is. It's like a breaking of the spirit. If you continue to try to break someone's spirit, that is spiritual. And it's a spiritual attack. So, but it's blocked. Double confirmation. Overall energy is blocked. Came out blocked. Archangel Michael protecting you, keeping it eyes on everything. Let me see. Make sure I don't go over too long, but I know everybody's probably is at work, so everybody's going back from their lunch. But I'm gonna finish with the reading anyway, because I likely post it. Holy Spirit, any other messages to help round out the reading for the collective during this new moon time? Okay, I'm gonna take those. Boundaries. Personal boundaries are diffused. Over concern for others and a loss of autonomy in development. Parental needs. So pretty much enmeshment. So it, like I said, that kind of goes well with if you have support needs, anybody that has some type of support needs. And I'll say this, a lot of times it's likely because of the upbringing. You have even more needs because you are trying, your needs are not being met. Plus you have other needs, and plus you have to stay very vigilant of what's going around in your surroundings. Enmeshment can really do that. It can really tear you apart, and it makes you be that way for the rest of your life if you don't start to kind of do something about it. Whereas my life, who I am, let's say I retired, but I used to be a hairstylist. I'm a hairstylist. That's what I do by profession. But then I have, say, 5 people around me that are close or that maybe have grown up with me. They try to take on parts of that and try to tell me exactly what I should do and how I should do it, and that is enmeshment. That's when you take even what this is mine. I'm a singular. I'm outside of you, even though we are connected. What I have going on is still to be mine. So, being careful of that. If you got anybody that you feel like you enmesh with and they are pulling you down, you're going to have to learn how to release some things that are enmeshments. That's not even it's not a good situation. It's not a relationship. It's somebody that's feeding off of what you have going on and either want to live through you or want to tear you down, keep you from doing it. Therefore, your life is their life. Like a tag along. Like you just, I don't know, if you swimming, you put a 5-pound weight, that 5-pound weight is just carrying with you all the time. Like, that's enmeshment. Like, I don't need to be super concerned with every other person that I love all the time. Watch out for, hold on, let me make sure I read it. Watch out for people that come around you to clean up their image. That's how I wrote that. A lot of people will love to come around you right now to clean up their own image. You see, because what you're doing, you're outside of it. And the enmeshment, once you step away from enmeshment, people will want to try to come back around and see if they can be connected to clean up everything, to make it seem like, oh, it's not that bad. So be aware of that. Does this person have any restraint? Do you have restraint? Are you able to stop and think things through? Or is like pretty much just because I don't like let's just say somebody and they got, I don't know, cloud hair. I don't want to make like random colors and offend nobody, but just say somebody had hair and the hair looked like cloud. I don't like clown hair. Do I have restraint to say that don't have nothing to do with me? Why should I even be frustrated with it? But you'll notice people don't have restraint with you. If you have any kind of support needs, if you feel like you got too much on your plate, or like they say, too much dip on your chip, you can get rid of the dip and the chips. To be honest, you can really pare down a whole lot of stuff, get away from a whole lot of things. But this is the thing, when you have people around you that don't have any restraint, they don't have any tact, they will say anything, they will do anything. When they don't like something, it's not their purpose. It's not their life. They don't know how you feel on the inside. But during this time, be careful of that, because the new stuff, what you activate in today, like I said, carries you on to the next cycle, right? And people know that if they can get in and get you frustrated and bring you down even just a little bit, it can take you kind of off track. I just wanted to look to see what was underneath there. To be one's best self, stay grounded in self-respect. And self-respect is a is a big thing. Just relational is a big thing. My self-respect is how I treat others. To be honest, it's how I treat others. I disrespect myself by doing something I think is disrespecting you, because I don't really care what people do really to me. I know I can walk away, and I'm happy doing that. But the point is, a person doing something just in their thoughts to try to disrespect you is literally just disrespecting themselves. They're really not disrespecting you. See, when you respect yourself and when you feel good about yourself, you don't want to say something to upset another person. When I mean upset another person, you don't want to sit there and pick at them, harm them, say things to bring them down. That's very disrespectful, in my opinion. So, let's move forward. I'll put those back because I remember what they were. So, just a couple of angel cards. Holy Spirit, anything for the collective that's going to see this reading and or viewing the live right now, whether inside the room, outside the room. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Any messages for the collective, for the reading during this time, during the new moon? What's the energy? What we need to be aware of? Okay, during this time, being aware that you cannot change. Be aware that you cannot change the past. You can learn, teach, elevate to a new level, vibrate higher, and laugh and enjoy, and have enjoy during this time. So you can't change the past, but you can for sure do these things. Learn from it, teach somebody else, elevate to a new levels, vibrate higher. We could probably add more to that, and laughing at the joy of all of it, having the peace that you've made it outside of that. That's what you can do with what happened in the past, because no, you can't change the past. And a lot of people struggle with wishing they could change the past, but we can't change the past. The past is the past. Archangel Raphael, painter, creative artist. So anybody during this time could be creative or being an artist. Archangel Raphael is right there helping you out with that. Yeah, he is the painter, the creativity, and the artist. So that's a good thing during this time. You want to be able to be in your creativity and focus on what's to come. Creativity, that's how we're living. We need creativity. That's how we create. That's how we have buildings. That's how we have all the things that we have, all the comforts of life that we have now that are extremely comfortable. It was from creativity. It was from need. Evolution. Pay attention to your actions during this time. Treatment plan. What are you going to do moving forward for yourself, especially when it comes to support needs? Anyone wants to be hard until reality, loss, or retaliation make you soft. Don't spend your time thinking that somebody is this way or that way, because you truly don't know. And I'm not going to go too much more into that. When you love someone, you do things in hopes that the decisions today won't harm the future. So whatever you do today, in this day, they go on to the future. What we said, to a whole month from now, to that next cycle. What we activate in today is what we deal with right on. And over the next 2 weeks, I mean, you really have to be serious about it. The decisions we make today, they affect you and anybody around you. There are universal laws, so be aware of the universal laws. And if anything happened in the past, universal laws. There's always a cause and effect. Answer the call. Answer your call for whatever it is that you have going on, that you know you want to do, that you feel like you're led to do. Answer the call. That's what it is. Your gifts do make room for you, and they set you in front of the community or the people. Great, it says great men, but we don't have to be like put ourselves in one little box and say it can only be this or that. It's many ways to your gifts to be used and activated. Talents, talents was like you coins or whatever you go. Don't sit on that. I'm saying, gifts, but as soon as I said it, it made me think about the talents. And what is a parable where everybody, 11 workers at the 11th hour, 11 workers went out every hour, and he found a new worker, and they got the same pay. And pretty much, whether you get it today or whether you at the end, don't matter, you got it. You agreed to it, right? So what you agreed to today set you up for 2 weeks from now and beyond, right? Then you have to think about also, if I had $100,000 and I said I'm going to select 10 people and I'm gonna give you all $10,000 apiece. This is a parable that's in the Bible. I'm paraphrasing it, but the point is, I'm going to expect some type of return from you. If I give you this $10,000 and I give 10 people $10,000, well, just whatever. You know what I'm saying. If I give everybody $10,000, I'm going to expect you to do something with that $10,000. When I come back in 2 weeks, I am expecting that you did something with that money. I don't care if you don't give me a big return. I would just be happy to know that you got something started with that $10,000, because I'm investing in you, and when I come back, I want to see something. There are some people that would take that and just not know what to do and just bury it down. That's your talents and your gifts. Just take the money and say, I'm gonna stick it under the ground. $10,000 when you could actually do something with that. That's what your gifts and your talents are. It's starting off with raw material that you need, $10,000 today, and I want to come back in 2 weeks and let me see what you have done with it. But some of us, we don't want to be thankful with what the gifts that we've been given. You've given the tools and the gifts already. Activate in it. Do something with it. What else? So this is an animal spirit, the camel. Conservation, stamina, self-sufficiency, calm, easy, thorough, water saving. With it being as hot as it is right now at this time, that's a good way to be. Have what you need. Be self-sufficient. If you got to let some things go, if you got to tell some people I can't help you right now, then do it. It's only going to help you. Because the gifts that you have, the talent that you've been given, if everybody had, I guarantee there are some people that will use their gift right now. If somebody said, look, I'm gonna give you this $10,000, use all your gifts the way you was created to. Thank you for liking the live. I sure appreciate it. They would come back and do something with it. Some people, you can give them $500 and say, activating your gift today with this $500, and they will have a return on it. So put what you put in. So you're gonna be conservative with what you have, but use it. Use what you have. Stamina, self-sufficiency, calm and easy and thorough, water saving. So a camel, they got what they need. They gonna get wherever they going, and they all the way out in the desert. There ain't no water out there. They got to know how to use what they have. That's very sufficient, right? Extremely sufficient. I don't think some of us could be as sufficient as the camel, but when they get water, when they get whatever they get, they use it properly. They got stamina to be able to be in that type of heat, that's like a pressure cooker. The heat that I'm experiencing here in Tennessee right now, we having a heat advisory too. It's nothing compared to being out in the desert where I can't even go run and get some water or throw some water on myself or anything. I have to conserve what I have. I got some water, I learn how to be thankful for it, because during this time you want to have ease. You want to know exactly what you need. If you got the camel spirit coming out, meaning you got the stamina, you are self-sufficient, you got what you need. You got what you need. Now activate in what you have. Be careful. Shadow man, shadow woman. So those people that, be careful. Every time it's a new moon anyway, but the point that I'm trying to make is it's always going to be those around, but the overall message was it was overall blockades and blockages removed, and all, you know, spiritual attacks being blocked as well. But still be aware, because, you know, we can always make a situation worse. We can always make a situation worse if we're not, you know, really careful with what we do and how we go about things. That's why it's like, it's a good time today. Pull back, and put your thoughts in what you want for going forward, because we pretty much, what is it, July? I mean, we at the other part of the end of the year, and we really need to be thinking about, like, what do we want to bring in, because, you know, you're gonna need some stuff. The season's gonna change around again, you know. Holy Spirit, any messages during this new moon time? I'll take those. Since they said blatantly, I'm coming out. Yeah, that's swift, fast action. I'm gonna take them all in the upright, because I don't really like to read reversals. Let's see. Page of Wands, charity. Yeah, young person. Let's see. Get ready for the future. So movement, 8 of Wands. You got this that's you know, a youthful energy. Wands, passionate energy. 8 of Wands, readying yourself for the future. Movement forward. 8 of Pentacles. There's a learning curve and some processes, but to be at the 8 of Pentacles, good. That's good stuff. There's some learning to do, but every time you go on a new path or you got to make some changes, it's going to be some learning involved. It's 1, 2, 3 on the clock. If that ain't a double confirmation, my clock say 1, 2, 3. I don't know where everybody else is at, but I'm on Central Standard Time. Yeah. 7 of Swords, and I just got playing cards, so clarity coming up ahead. Yep. So be aware, like I said, whatever's coming, it's a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing. Be careful of possibly going backwards. You know, it's always a possibility for it. So mental stuff. So at this time, you know what it is you need. So don't waver on it. Don't waver on it. If you waver on it, you will go backwards. You will go into a stagnant energy. And it's easy to do if you have the wrong people around you. That's all I can say on that. I don't want to go too deep. I'll be already long-winded enough. Holy Spirit, any messages during this new moon for the collective? Aries energy. The energy around you is dynamic, spontaneous, crusading, impulsive action is likely. So strike while the iron is hot is what I hear, is what I feel. Spontaneous, but it's also dynamic. Yeah, you probably will have to just make the decision, you know. Nobody likes to hear that. Everybody wants to be all like for sure. They want to see it all lined up. They want to, I got to see it all. The ducks got to line up. Sometimes it don't be that way. Hey. Thank you for coming into the live. And sometimes I don't see the messages because I really be focusing. And my apologies for that. I don't do it to hurt or bother anybody or anything like that. So you have to make the decision that's gonna have to be made. It could, you get up to the decision and you might have to be quick about it, or it may feel impulsive, but sometimes you got to do that too. Under the bottom was Saturn, the part of you that accepts challenge to gain wisdom. Yeah, sometimes you gotta go with it. You know, if you look at, and I'm not trying to say that monetary is the only way to be successful, because it's not in life. There's a whole lot of different ways. My idea of success is all tied to my self-actualization and me feeling peaceful, calm, being healthy in all ways, and what's for me is successful. Because for me, successful to be a tiny little area with just a little small cottage house with 500 square feet. If I could have something, just some plants outside and some water, for me, that would be success. Because I would be in the most peaceful atmosphere. That would be success for me. I always say I would just walk off into the woods and just, and they'd be like, she walked that way and she ain't came back yet. I would be happy. But, when you look at successful people in the world and they tell their story, and that's why we like to listen to those kinds of stories, because they're telling you something. It's a theme to it. The rubber meets the road, and they had to make a spontaneous action. I don't think any of them had a story where it just lined up just so freaking perfectly, and they, you know, everything just dropped right there. You might have those periods and moments where everything drops into place, but when you got to take a big risk, people get scared. A lot of times people don't get what they want out of life, because when it's time to take the big risk, and I'm getting close, because when it's time to take the big risk, that's when those negative words and thoughts say, if you take that risk, everything could fall apart. And that's the truth. It could. And that's the thing. That's the scary part of it. We all know that we could take a risk and it could all fall apart, or it could all be successful. And it could be up and stuck. But the truth of the matter, it could not be successful. The point of that I'm trying to make is, if it's not successful and everything falls down, could it mean that it was meant to? Could it mean that the foundation of that had to go away in order for you to make the next step? If you look at things in that way, like if everything does crumble down, what's the next step, right? And yeah, that can be scary. I mean, even me myself, I'm like, yeah, it's hard to encourage somebody and say, oh, just take the steps and do it. You never want to do that, because it's like, if that person is very, very sensitive, or, you know, very fragile. Now, I won't say sensitive, because sensitive is not the right word. Sensitive people make it through a whole lot of things. Fragile people don't. And I wish people would be real clear. If you ever heard somebody say you sensitive, and you actually a sensitive person, sensitive people make it through a lot. Fragile people don't. And I'm making that pause because it's the truth. Sensitive people, they feel their way through everything. They make it. Fragile people don't. Fragile people is just what the word says, fragile. If you put a glass in a cardboard box, but you don't put any paper around it, when it moves from place to place, it might not make it. to that final destination. It might not make it to the first couple of spots in the destination. It might not make it just sitting it inside of the truck. It might not make it because it's fragile. And in order for that glass, that one glass in this cardboard, because it's fragile, it needs to have those peanut things in there. You got to have it wrapped in some kind of plastic bubble wrap. You got to have a piece of something extra to push down on the peanuts to keep it from wiggling around. You got to tape it up. Then you got to stick it in the cardboard box. Then you might need to put something extra in there. Then you got to close and seal the box properly. Then you got to write what? Fragile glass. Handle with care before you ship it. Fragile people break easily. Sensitive people are strong. They are sensitive to what they feel in their atmosphere. I'm gonna say that again. Fragile people break real easily. And you got to know the difference. Because I feel something doesn't mean I'm fragile. It means I'm aware that I'm not the only person in the world that feelings matter. A fragile person does all kinds of things to hurt everybody because they're actually broken. So the Aries, the energy of Aries, if this card appears in your reading, it suggests that the energy around you is Aries. I'm gonna put it up on the screen just to hold it there just a minute, just in case anybody wanted to take a little look at it. But I'll go ahead and read it. The matter is enthused with dynamic, impulsive energy, like a soldier who races forward with his sword in hand to slay the dragon, or knight who recklessly gallops into danger to save their fair maiden. There is lots of restless movement and not much thought. It may be that you are filled with the fire of action, or perhaps you draw someone to you who acts in this way. There is something very, I can't say that. I've never even, and I like to read, but I've never even seen this word. Swashbuckling. I don't know what that means. I've never seen this. I'm sorry. It's my childlike nature. Forgive me. Or pretty much a fairy tale. And gallant in the air, reminiscence of Robin Hood or the Knights of the Round Table. Aries is competitive, likes a fight or battle for a worthy cause, and will always defend the underdog. It leaps headlong into the fray, stopping only to pull the sword out of the stone. This energy can be self-centered and pioneering to the point that it dislikes taking orders from others. Leadership is naturally involved, but being a part of the team effort is not. If it is unconstrained, then temper tantrums or aggression may appear, and patience is pushed to its limits and beyond. It is unlikely that secrecy or deception is involved, since this energy is too naive or impulsive to plot. It rushes in where angels fear to tread, and perhaps this impulsiveness does go overboard at times. It's possible that the Aries goes too far without considering the consequences. Winning is everything, and having won, Aries moves onward and upward for the next conquest. The Aries energy that surrounds the matter in hand will facilitate activity, action, results, achievement, which is useful if you want something done, but caution may be thrown to the wind. So yeah, pretty much that's what I was kind of saying. I mean, overall, it is gonna be a time for action, but it's just like it's saying, like, you could leap, you could have and be ready, do it, gung-ho, do what you gotta do. But at the same time, if it doesn't work out, It's the other side of it. But how many, this is my thing. This is how I feel though. This is my philosophy on it. How many times can I sit back and say, what if it goes wrong? How many times can you say that in a lifetime? How many times will you say that in a lifetime? How many times have you done that already? Did everything work out because you didn't go gung-ho and do something? I mean, to be honest, I have sat there and calculated to the like, okay, this has got to work out. I need to have this right here and that right there. All those situations didn't work out either. That's all I'm saying. I ain't trying to push nobody in no direction. I'm really speaking of course to myself too. Is not every decision that I planned out and thought of and planned out and thought of and thought of and planned, all of them things didn't work out. Some of them did, and some of them didn't. So some decisions, like the Aries energy, they just have to be made without all of the extra fluff. And yeah, it could be bad. It could be. The decision we plan sometimes still bad. We have bad relationships and we planned the relationship. We selected the partners. We calculated in our mind that they were the right partner and it didn't turn out. People go into marriages every day that they calculated, that they thought it was going to work out and it didn't work out. People go into marriages that's spontaneous. They thought it would work out, it didn't work out. But some people go into marriages that was spontaneous and they was married until they got too old and they were just gone. And they was like, they gone. They loved each other for 80 years, you know. They met at 20 and loved each other for 80 years. And one was 100 and one was 98, whatever. Don't pay me no mind. I'm just making, but the truth of the matter is, the point of it is, you can make decisions. Some of them can be planned and some of them might not be so planned. They might be more spontaneous. Either way, whether you plan a decision or whether you take action, all of the plans are not going to fall into place. And that's what makes it so hard for people to go ahead towards their success, because they're scared. And a plan feels better than taking action and striking out. And, you know, just doing what you have to do. Yeah, there's consequences. There's always going to be consequences. But at the end of the day, even if something does fail, then you broke an old foundation. You broke something that likely meant to be broken anyway. But that's my thoughts on it. So, you know, you have to use your own discernment. I guess I will go ahead and pull some letters and then just get up out of it. We done after that. And these are just little, just beads, actually. Letter beads. But I thought they would be nice. And you know what? I drop so many of them sometimes and then I never find them again. So it was really good that I thought to get a whole bunch of them. I'm going to try to get a few. All right. I'll hold that up there if I can for a second or two so we can see the letters. Hopefully it'll just stay. Okay, so we got W, D, Q that came out, O, K, and Y. Oh no, we got some more. Another Q and another K. Or either, yeah, let me see. 2 Q's. Questions. I don't know, that's what I get out of the questions. Got a W and a Y. K. 2 K's. So I don't know, you know, it could be some confirmation for somebody, you know. I'm not gonna say what I was thinking. I'm just gonna leave that. I know that wasn't right. Okay. Yeah. WKY. Quick. yeah, that's all I really can get out of it. I don't really see a whole lot to get out of that, other than quick action, why, questions. Yeah, not a whole lot, sparking me on that. Besides that, it's some double energy. That's all I get out of it. So that's the end of it. Thank everybody for being here with me, tapping it out. Make sure you get your daily heart. I appreciate everybody. I thank you for the gift. Truly, I do. Yeah, during this, sometimes I like to chit chat afterwards. I'll like kind of go expound, my thought processes and my philosophy on certain things. And I understand that people probably don't want to hear that part, but I'm gonna talk anyway because I feel like maybe somebody might want to hear it or need to hear it. But at the end of the day, just kind of going into like the people that are what we see to be successful, or have what most people would say a high level of success. Some of those people literally had to just strike. They had to make a decision. And to be honest, some of the times when they made those decisions, the foundation they were on was already crumbling anyway. So they made the right decision. But every planned decision doesn't work. People that continue to do stuff until they become successful in something, they failed a lot, they planned a lot. They worked hard a lot. They had tutors. They had all of this stuff. And it didn't work out. Scientists, most of what they don't work out. I'm sorry. I couldn't get the words out. Most of the stuff that they look into don't work out. I'm working in, more behind the scenes and different things like that. Being a nurse, working in a hospital. And I'll go from there, work in research, a part of it, the very small part of it. When I say small, teeny tiny. What I do is keeping afloat and tracking the numbers as far as baselines at time points, stuff like that. That's what I do. That's a teeny tiny small part of it. It's not small. Somebody needs to read those results, right? But the point I'm trying to make is, most of the time when you look dealing with even science, most of the scientists, most of the stuff that they look at, it don't work. They got to fail 1,000 times, and it's planned. They got, I think a scientist probably got some of the best plans put together out of all us on earth right now, because they plan and they plan and they replan and they retest and they retest and they retest and they plan and they plan and they plan and they plan, and they get to the end and that it don't come nothing. You say it didn't work out. We finally have medications for certain illnesses and stuff, and they have been working on those medications since I was born. And they thought they would never pan out. But the thing I'm trying to say is, you could plan forever, and maybe it will happen. But then people that struck the iron while it was hot, they had to jump and go ahead and leap. They had to go ahead and cut. They had to go ahead and go off into battle. One person I like to hear them talk about their story, and that is, what is his name? Comedian. Money Mike. I can't even call his name, and that's really terrible right now. But anyway, I like him telling his story when he got his role in Friday After Next. And him telling his story was, either I do this or I do that. Now this looks like very much so a plan. 144 on the time. Just went over to 5:45. But the point of the matter is, He had 2 decisions. We all got 2 decisions. Some of us got more than that. And literally, thank you, I saw you. He had to make a decision. And he made the decision to say, well, you know what? I'm going to live out this trailer while I finish this movie so I can get this money. Best decision he ever made. Best decision that he made when it comes to being at the level that he is now. He played Money Mike, and the point is that I'm trying to make is the fact that he did that. It was a leap. It looked probably foolish to most people because it was like, oh, okay, you just gonna go and make you're not gonna tell them, you just gonna be on site, you know. But it's inspiring. The movie they made where Will Smith made the movie about Gardner, his name, The Pursuit of Happiness. Most people probably wouldn't have done what he did, but he really didn't have a choice. His foundation had already crumbled anyway. But anyway, sometimes you really do have to get up and make that spontaneous action. You really have just to say, look, I can't do this no more. If you such in a place where if you get up and I feel like, and you have planned, I'm not saying a person that has never planned and they just always jumping and doing this, just doing that, doing that, doing this, doing that. I'm not saying that somebody like that, maybe they do need to sit down and get under a plan for a while. But if you have planned your whole life and you have made everything out of a plan and it's just flowing and you put all this in it, you know, at some point maybe you will make a decision that's a risk. And it could be beneficial. That's all I got to say. I mean, if it's a time for everything under heaven, then it's a time for people that plan all the time to take a risk, and it's a time for people that always take risks to make a plan. I guess it's some kind of balance. So whoever needed it, they got it, they heard it. I'm pretty much through. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, if you planned all your life, at some point, will you ever take a risk? Or will you just never take a risk? That's how I look at it. His name was what? Chris Gardner. Now that it just came to my mind. Chris Gardner was The Pursuit of Happiness. And like I say, yeah, he had a hard road, but he took a risk. He took a risk that most people say, man, why would you take a risk? You don't know nothing about that. But he took the risk. What if he hadn't took the risk? If he hadn't took the risk, it probably wouldn't have, it wouldn't have been better, because sometimes you have to take a risk. Sometimes it's sitting there for you to take the risk. Yeah, he had taken risks before, but he was doing planned action. He thought he was going to be able to sell those things quick, but he wasn't. It took him a long time, but the fact that he used all of those things to get him where he needed to be. So yeah, he thought he was going to be able to do it quick when he made that planned decision, but that planned decision helped him get to that spontaneous decision. Sometimes, you know, you got to be resourceful. Sometimes you actually got to take stuff off your plate. But do you think he would have done it? He wouldn't have made that decision. I'm sorry, I just got a confirmation for myself, and I just got a confirmation and I want to say it right. Do you think he would have taken that risk if he would have been able to have the money to keep paying his rent? Whoever's hearing it that need to hear it, you know, I hope you do get that message. He wouldn't have took that risk. He wouldn't have had that job. He wouldn't have had that good paying job if he would have been able to pay his rent. So sometimes a foundation have to break in order for you to make a decision that you need to make. If a foundation break, then you can go and make the decision that you need to make. In the pursuit of happiness, he made a plan for those machines. The plan didn't work out the way he wanted it to, but even that plan decision helped him to stay afloat. But if he was able to pay his rent, he would have never applied for that internship, unpaid internship, with people younger than him, with people that had education, with people that had money. And here he is, homeless with a child. It makes me a little bit. It brings up emotions to me because you have to take a risk. You got to take a risk at some point. If you done planned all your life, you can't sit here and tell me that every one of those planned decisions had a great outcome. I can look straight into whoever and say, I know every planned action that you took did not work out. I know it didn't. Because it didn't for me. Some of them did. A decent amount of them did. And I think it's somewhere around 40 to 60%, because people wouldn't be as fearful of taking action if it wasn't right there in the middle. It could fail or it could work, you know. You gotta take a risk sometimes. You gotta take a risk sometimes. And some things are divine, so there are gonna be times you're gonna have to just do it. You ain't gonna have a choice but to. But the point I'm trying to make, and I'm making it for myself, sometimes you could have $5,000, and depending on what your income is, you know, you be like, well, I pay my rent and do what I need to do, and you keep going. But if you don't have what you need and you just got to hit that pavement and you just have to start doing what you need to do, it'll make you make a decision that you never thought you could make. It'll push you on into it. So during this time, you know, evaluate what you want to do. What do you want to do? Do you want the rest of your life to just be this boxed in? If that, you know, do you want to be boxed in, or are you ready to leap forward? And sometimes you just got to make a decision. You just have to make a decision. Plans don't always work out. But with the Aries energy, you know, you have to be bold, you know, like a soldier going out for battle, you know. Fighting for somebody's honor, fighting for the underdog. Yeah, he was an underdog, but he made it, and it wasn't but one spot. Could you imagine not having the education that everybody had, being almost twice the age of everybody, or at least 10 years, a decade older than everyone? You don't have a place that's yours to live. You don't have much income. You're just trying to make it. And imagine going to make the decision to say, I'm going to keep selling these machines. I'm going to go into this internship, and it ain't no money involved. That's the biggest risk. I don't think most people would never have taken that risk. But look how great it was. Broke down the foundation, put them out there, let me show you what I'm made of. I don't have a choice but to show you what I'm made of. I don't have anywhere to live and lay my head that's mine. I've got to figure out a way to not overly drink water so I can make more calls, because I got to do this and I got to leave early, and I got all these things that's piling up on a person, but they still make the right decision. They still make a decision, and comfortability can keep you stuck. Because I believe if he had the money to pay his rent and not had a job, and didn't have, you know, and he had that extra $200, and he could keep putting $200 to savings every month, he would have not even thought to go over there. That's all I can say. Sometimes things happen and you just be looking around. If you ever get in a situation where it's like thing after thing to break everything up into pieces, sometimes you got to get in that flow and say, I must it must be something I need to see outside of this little bubble that I've been in this area. Sometimes when things really break up, you know, you should have itchy feet or something like that. It's time for you to expand. It's time for the ground that you've been walking on to open up. Grass is soft. Concrete, we know, is hard. But grass will grow up between the hard concrete and still grow right on and just keep on going if you allow it to. Yeah, it will. So sometimes you just got to make the decision. Sometimes you do. I feel like when things start to shake up and you doing as much as you can within your power to keep things together, just like the Pursuit of Happiness, Chris Gardner, he did everything in his power to keep his foundation. He wanted to keep his place. And if he'd had the money to pay that rent, he would have stayed right there until whatever other opportunity that seemed more planned out happened or was presented to him. True, most of us live life like that. But the point is, he didn't have a choice. It was like, I don't even have a choice, because that's kind of like a divine intervention. Like, this is finna break up and you're gonna have to do something. You're gonna have to do something. Yep. I hope this helps somebody, okay? I'll see y'all. Thanks for watching the live. Appreciate you.